Barrientos, and we're going to be talking about how to choose the best SEO provider for your firm and giving you the top 10 questions to ask, as well as what to look out for in the answers. Okay, so who can you trust when it comes to SEO? Deciding who you hire as your trusted search engine optimization provider can be difficult. And I mean, that's normal. It's an unfamiliar space. It's not something you have expertise in because, you don't work in it full time. And the problem is that companies can claim false or misleading information to make themselves sound better. So not knowing the right questions to ask or what to look for in a company's answers could cause you to make the wrong decision. Okay, so here are the key questions to ask when shopping for an SEO provider. Can you guarantee that we will rank #1 for a major search term? This is a trick question. That's because no one can guarantee #1 rankings on Google. That's not that. No. An easy way to weed out salespeople or spam is if a company says yes, then end the conversation and then there. No one knows the exact algorithm or how it will change or penalties that come down the road. So what this means is that while SEO companies do know best practices to help you rank higher, no one can specifically guarantee placement, especially during a specific time frame. If a company claims that they are Google certified in SEO, that's also a red flag. That's not a thing. It doesn't exist. So Google does not offer SEO specific certifications. What they do offer though is a Google partner certification, and that's specific to AdWords and analytics. So if someone says they have a Google partnership certificate and they're doing like pay-per-click or analytics, which is related to SEO, then that's fine. That exists, and there's no red flag there. Okay, the other thing is ask how long the company has been doing SEO in that specific industry. So while there are SEO companies that don't necessarily specialize, they just cater to small businesses. Looking for companies who have an accounting industry expertise and are already familiar with works best and what doesn't is best. That's because SEO requires auditing and targeting specific keywords. And people that work in the industry will be able to identify keywords that may have some volume that people that are not, necessarily privy to may be able to answer or may be able to include. And also, it really just comes down to intent. So, the intent behind the search from the searcher. So someone that's in the accounting industry can look at, something as like as simple as controller, right? Someone who's familiar with that from an accounting perspective knows exactly what that means. Whereas someone who doesn't come from that background is just, that's kind of a random keyword with no context. Could it mean controller to television? What is it? There's no context for that. So that's why it's important to have someone that's has specific knowledge. All right, so also you should ask if they can share the experience of other clients. A reputable SEO company will have client case studies and testimonials among other stats to prove their results. So you'll want to treat shopping for an SEO provider similar to anything else. Look at reviews, testimonials, case studies just to see what they can provide. If they can't share any case studies or testimonials, then that may also be a red flag. And companies should be able to show you at least 3 to 4 strong testimonials from happy clients. The other thing is how you can ask is how you'll help me get better rankings. So this is really speaking to the strategy behind SEO, right? So the goal isn't to get #1 placement or get guaranteed #1 placement. The goal is to have an improvement. So you'll need a seriously strong SEO strategy to get good results. So every good company will have their own set processes in place. You may not hear, we're going to get you a backlink at this exact website, but they should have an outline strategy and approach of next steps. You should hear them talk about quick win strategies, on and off-site strategies, technical updates, keyword research, and ongoing maintenance and reporting. Some quick win strategies that you might hear are related to page titles and meta descriptions. Those are usually low-hanging fruit that can be optimized pretty quickly. In terms of on-site and off-site strategy, on-site refers to anything that is done within the site. Off-site is for anything related to your site. So on-site would be updating page titles, meta descriptions, maybe updating a page of content. Off-site strategies would include cleaning up your business listings, helping you get a little bit more reviews, potentially getting some backlinks. And then technical updates typically refers to cleaning up any 404 errors. If you hear 404 or 301, those fall under technical updates, and those are things that can be tightened up pretty quickly. Keyword research is pretty self-explanatory. Any SEO is probably going to start out with keyword research, one for their own benefit. They're getting familiar with your site and what it is that you have to offer, potentially volume in local SEO. Because it's so hyper-localized, volume is not going to be the same if you search for accounting services in California than it is going to be, in Utah. So generally, keyword research is one of the first steps that is taken. And then, of course, you're in SEO, it's a long-term strategy, so it's something that you'll always want to keep an eye on. So ongoing maintenance and reporting should be included as well. Okay, so one thing you could ask is how do you plan to create backlinks? So the reason why backlinks are so important is because they are a pretty big part of ranking factors. So Google does look at backlinks. These are hyperlinks from another website to your own. That's the definition of a backlink. And you can think of these as references when you're job hunting. Basically, what Google does is they look at these backlinks as a representation of your relationship with another entity that may be related to you. So, for example, if you are a member of your state association, right, and they include a link to your website, that link to your website is a representation of your relationship as a member of that association. Therefore, that makes you more credible because Google knows that that association's website has to do with accounting. It has to do with some, certification that you probably did. It has to do with continued education. So it knows that that's an authoritative site that then is passed on to your website and yourself. That being said, there are backlinks that are good and there are backlinks that are bad. Good, high quality backlinks are going to be anything that is representative of a professional relationship that you hold. So the local Chamber of Commerce, if your business appears in the directory for the local Chamber of Commerce, that's a good backlink. If you have any speaking engagements, if your website is mentioned on the website of that speaking engagement event, then that's a representation of a professional engagement and a great backlink to have because it signals to Google that you are in fact authoritative in your industry. Low quality backlinks, however, are easier to get, so they can backfire in the end. So they can potentially even get you banned from search engines depending on how bad it is. So anything that has came from a private blog network or a link farm is considered pretty spammy. A private blog network is basically a network of websites that is created by one person, and then they use all of those different websites to point to the website that they want to get to rank. And by doing that, the idea is that by having all of these different backlinks to that one particular website, that it'll rank higher. That's not something that should be practiced anymore. That's been pretty out of date for a while now, but some people still do it. And those are spammy links that Google can catch on to pretty quickly. And while you may have a temporary improvement in your rankings, that'll quickly turn around. And it's a lot more difficult once you have a penalty. Rankings are easy to lose and hard to get back. So if once you lose them, it's going to take a lot of work, exponentially more work to get back in Google's good graces. So if someone promised you a large number of links, remember it's quality over quantity. So that's potentially a red flag for you. So what tools are you going to be using for reporting? I think this is a fair question to ask because it kind of gives you insight into the company's expertise. So there are many different tools out there. Some are better than others, but asking about the tools and seek out the top names, which are outlined here. Reporting tools like Google Analytics and Google Search Console are pretty standard. Those are free tools that are provided by Google. So, you know, those will probably implement it even if they're not used. They may use other tools for, you know, link building or technical SEO or just general research, but some names to look out for are SEMrush, Majestic, MozPro, Ahrefs. Those are just some of the top ones that are pretty common, so they'll probably use something like it. So if you mention it, that name, that brand name should ring a bell in the representative, and even if they're not using that tool specifically, they can probably give you the name to the one that is comparable. So you want to understand what types of information you're going to get from each of the reporting tools each month, so make sure it's capturing analytics and the information that you want to see. And you can probably discuss that with the individual company to see what information they have available to them. You'll also want to determine your success, right? Because while not everybody starts on the same page, so you'll want to have some specific goals in mind that you're going to be discussing with that company. But generally, you're going to want to look for a company that provides consistent and timely reporting to gauge success. So a good SEO company will be transparent, consistent, providing a report. It's very typical to have like a monthly report because SEO, you know, it takes a lot of work throughout the month to see some incremental improvement on a monthly basis. And then once you get out a few more months, you can look at it on a quarterly basis to kind of get an understanding for the grand scheme of things. But monthly is pretty standard. Most of the reports will include search traffic information, so any sessions that came from search engines specifically, or any traffic to your website from search engines, any changes in rankings. So if you're targeting specific keywords, ideally those keyword rankings are going to go up. So that means that the number is going to go higher in position. The number should get smaller. And then things like bounce rate is also something that you can look at. So just be on the lookout for those reports. You should also ask, aside from SEO, what their payment structure is. So understand how payments look like to get better plan your firm's budget. Most companies will utilize a monthly retainer approach, but others may take a flat fee or a pay by hour approach. I think the most common payment structure is monthly, so there you may have maybe a little bit more upfront because there's more work, like a setup fee or something, because there's more work upfront. But once you get into a rhythm of things, yeah, then that's potentially going to even out. So then the monthly retainer is enough. Quality SEO companies won't be super cheap, but they shouldn't break the bank. So, you know, it is an investment. All right, you should also ask if there is a contract and also what happens if you can't terminate the contract early. So if there is a contract, you make sure to understand the terms. It's actually not uncommon to have a contract when you have this type of SEO engagement because SEO does take a few weeks to months of hard work to see results. So it's something that you are they're going to want to keep you for a while because it's going to take at least a couple months to get some of the implementations in there and start seeing some incremental improvements. Because of this, it's not coming to have a contract, so just understand the agreement and know what you're getting into. So overall, a strong SEO strategy needs a strong foundation and you need time to see results. SEO is a long-term strategy. So if you guys are actually considering hiring a company now, which, you know, the fact that you're here it lets me know that you're probably considering it, now's a good time to start thinking about SEO. You know, when I used to work closer with our accountants, I used to work on the client services side with us on CPA side solutions, and I'd frequently get an influx of new clients in January for SEO. And although it's, you know, start whenever you can, but really the time for SEO is now in the summer because it does take a while to implement changes, observe what incremental improvements may have happened, and then potentially shift the strategy if needed. So, you know, you need time in order to get ready for next tax season now to make those changes. Okay, so if you have any questions on SEO, please, you know, feel free to reach out. We do search engine optimization. We also can help you with website design, whether that's custom or just updating your template. If you have questions about pay-per-click, which is another type of search marketing strategy, then we can help you with that as well, and social media. All right, so that is the end of the presentation. Thank you everyone for joining. If you do have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and hang tight for a couple more minutes, but otherwise, thank you guys so much for joining me today, and have a great rest of your day.